Greetings, this is Group Ruby, the Nostalgia Creator Catholic, with another Touched by an Angel episode review. This one is called The Hero. It's not one of the better known episodes, but it definitely has a very interesting charm all of its own. This gentleman here is named James Mackay, and he is the sheriff of another oddly named town, Tapworth or something. It's kind of strange. Okay. Yeah, Mackay or Mackay. Yeah, something. All right, James Mackay. He is the sheriff, and he's regarded as a hero because 3 years before there was a bank robbery. Another policeman was shot. His best friend, a guy named Nick, and he was credited with having taken down that bank robber right then and there, who was probably ready to kill everybody in that bank as well as take all his stuff. So he was the hero. He's honored as the hero, and she shows up in his life, claiming to be a freelance reporter, just kind of come to follow up. So what's going on? Where are they now? What's going on with the hero? Well, she manages to finagle a ride along, so she'll kind of ride along with him a little bit. And he's still kind of, they're always calling me a hero, but I don't know, it's just one thing. I mean, come on, what have I done for them lately, he's made talks or whatever. He sees his son out playing basketball. Here, by the way, is his son. Handsome young man. But he should be studying. He's got a huge test he's going to be taking the next day, and he should be studying, going out playing basketball with his friends. Nothing wrong with basketball here, but he needs to focus on that. And that man's very concerned. He really, really lives through his son. He wants his son to do all these grand things, to be this great student, not just a good one, but the best. And apparently, he's largely successful. You see all these awards, she's looking at them, and look at that. Excellence in track, football. Here, track, football, math, English. So, he's got all these awards that he's earned, okay. And he's about to take this important test. And she looks around the house. There's one other interesting shot here. This is a picture of James Mackay with his friend Nick while Nick was still alive. Best friends, fellow cops, good cop. Alright. So it's like he misses him every day. Well, the son is going through a lot of pressure. He's going to take this test, and even though he knows this stuff inside out, he still feels insecure about it all. He's got this little picture at his desk in his room of his father here. There he is. James Mackay, local hero. He hasn't had a time to find out who he really is. So, but his father is so proud. There he is, doing some more studying. His father is very proud of him, and with real justice. And yet, he's going to this guy to find the answers to the big test. Even this guy is able to say, and I actually have the scene here. Okay.
One thing I don't get. You can take this test in Chinese and still come out making A's. Why buy the answers? This one's too important. There's no room for mistakes.
He could have aced the test on his own. That guy says it. You don't need my answers. Why are you buying this from me? And the guy says, well, it's not enough. Later on, he's actually saying 1,500, which would be an excellent score by anybody's standard. It's not enough. if you don't have a full 1600. Now, it does become kind of clear just by the number. In those days, and maybe it's still true now, this test that he's talking about, because he wants to get into a certain college, a Naval Academy at Annapolis, by the way. They actually named that specifically. That's kind of neat. He wants to get their father wants him in there, and sure, it sounds like a great college, and he'd be happy to be there, although that's more what his father wants than what he wants, but he hasn't really had a chance to develop a different goal of his own. At any rate, he wants to get into college, and this is in the days when what they call the SAT tests. Apparently, they still have them. It's not clear that they have quite the same significance that they used to, but they do still exist. And the SAT test would be in two parts, each of 800 points. One was like the math, reading, English, and so forth, the ability to understand verbal, written concepts, and so forth. And then the other 800 points is about mathematics. And your math. So the total of that is 1,600 points. That is the maximum possible score possible on an SAT. And in some colleges, nobody gets in with anything less than a 1,600 SAT score. So, and maybe Annapolis might be in that neighborhood, or at least so the father sees it. So 1,500 is not enough. Now, I was just thinking here, a piece of arithmetic on my own. Well, while this comes up, I'll continue. Well, he's willing to cheat just to try to get that last several points. And here he is in the midst of the test, and he's got a crib note. Can you imagine that, bringing a crib note to an SAT test? So, even the teacher's confused. I don't know why you felt you had to cheat. And she's right. She had to call him out. She had to disqualify him. And, I don't know. It's an important score. Now, think about it in my own case. My own SAT score was probably just a bit shy of 1,300. Not too bad. And between that and grades and who I was or whatever else, it was good enough for me to go to UCSB. That's a good college. Certainly was then. Probably in some ways, especially the science and technology, still is. The guy that invented the blue LED did it while he was a student there. So, I think it's got some things to recommend it. Anyway, and I got in with, less than 1,300. So really shouldn't it have been just enough that he's good enough to get into Annapolis? I don't think you really need 600. Anyway, now the father here, Mr. James Mackay, is supposed to give a speech. It's like a send-off speech to the young students, because they wanted the hero to give a speech. And he's talking about how, you work hard, you study hard, and the doors will swing open. And, even as he's saying this, the son's listening to this, and he doesn't know that the son has just cheated and got caught cheating. He doesn't know all this happened yet. So he's on there, and the son he can't take any more of this. He gets up and just runs out of the room. And the guy, I didn't even see him run out of the room. But he's outside, and he's not feeling very good about himself. Meanwhile, there's a letter from some senator friend who had known about this hero and was willing to honor the hero. And the hero said, "Look, my son's done a really great stuff. He's a great kid. Look at all these awards he's won in his athletics. Look at his grades. They're doing really well. And a personal recommendation from you could be very helpful in getting into Annapolis." And the senator or congressman, whoever it was, had written a very nice recommendation letter. He even wrote it with honors. Wow. So he's just so proud of that boy. But he doesn't know. And the kid comes home, and he just goes upstairs and, well, let him sleep it off. This is not a sleep it off situation. He can't sleep. He hears a gunshot in the basement. This takes a little while to figure out is the end of a gun. His son is pointing it at his own head. He manages to not exactly miss, but at least not put it in a place that's fatal. He's injured. His speech centers are damaged, but he'll live. So here he is. They bring him to the hospital. Boy, what a case he is. Oh, I feel a skull fracture. You think? I mean, when a bullet hits the skull, you're probably going to get a fracture there. Yes, I think you would. But even while he's laying there, Monica's able to appear in glowing light to him, and bright skies, and their loving friends, and many things to look forward to, and so forth, to try to, encourage him. And then, oh, Matthew, God loves you so much. She always says that so well. This is kind of part of the trademark to the show. Now, it's kind of interesting. They do an interesting thing here that I kind of like. He can't talk, but she's an angel, so she can see what he's thinking and respond to him as if she heard him to speak normally. And then they kind of break it out as if he's just in the room standing around talking to her normally, so we can hear what he's saying and how he'd be saying it. You see, and not having it totally just make do with her half of the conversation. And he's laying there and his eyes move a little, and that's about it. So I think it's kind of an interesting scene. I like this. It's really neatly done.
No, you don't. You have so much to live for. It's okay. I'm an angel. I can hear you.
Nothing I do is good enough.
Good enough for your father?
He's not happy unless I'm the best. And I can't be all the time. I mean, if I'm on a team, he won't just let me play. He wants me to be team captain. And if I win an award, he wants it to be first place. And the boards, if I get a 1500, it's not good enough. He wants a 1600.
Is that why you cheated on your test?
Does he know?
Not yet.
Wow. Not yet. Obviously, he has to learn. I mean, of course, there's no way he's not going to, no matter what. But wasn't that neat how that's handled? I like that. Anyway, he can't believe that his son trying to kill himself. He just can't believe it. I mean, if he's trying to kill himself, there should be a note. You owe me a note. He's almost mad at the doctor for saying that. And Monica goes and somehow finds a note somewhere in the basement that the people didn't find. Whatever. Okay. All right.
This in the basement.
And so now she talks about what she found here.
This in the basement. It's addressed to you. James, Matthew is in that hospital bed because he was caught cheating on the college boards. His teacher disqualified him. He was about to lose everything. He couldn't talk to you, and he thought there was no other way out.
I don't understand this. He doesn't have to cheat.
Of course he doesn't. But you made him feel that being good wasn't good enough, and he was afraid that he wouldn't live up to your expectations. He wanted to die because he was too ashamed to come to you with the truth. Found this in the basement.
So, not a terrible thing to be told. That's got to be a truly horrible thing for a parent to hear. Finally, she has a chance to explain it to herself. Finally, she has a chance to explain it all to herself. And So now she had another revelatory moment. She lights up. You're getting closer to the way they want to do it in the end. She's, I'm an angel. See how her hair glows. That's kind of nice. And then suddenly, oh, he's in bed. But he can't sleep. He never could. That's why he was lost up early all the time. And she's there. And she take my hand. It's almost like something out of Christmas Carol or something, where the spirit of Christmas, past, present, or future, you take my hand. And as soon as you do, you're in a different place. He's back at the bank, and he's seeing what happened. The bank robber came in. There he was. He's supposed to bring him down. But he froze. He did nothing. And what ended up happening, his partner in taking the bullet also was the one who took down the criminal, was the real hero. So he finally has to realize he needs to be honest with his son. He was only so ambitious for his son because he wanted his son to do better than he did. And I guess every father should want their son to do better than they did. But he'd been setting this false standard that he had been this great hero, and everybody was calling him this hero. But the fact, he really, his role in this thing was really nothing heroic at all. People just made a mistake, and he went along with it. And now that's really hurting him because it was a lie. And finally, he's having to tell the truth to his son, who never knew all this before. He's explained. Nick died in that holdup because of me. As he froze. And then there was still another talk he was scheduled to give, or some, what do you call that? Community something, I don't know, what is it? Chamber of Commerce sort of opportunity to give a speech. And he's here to explain, I'm not the hero that you think I am. And he tells a little more about what happened. So let's see, should we give it here? Now look at the end of this, just for a moment. She's done. She comes out of the door. Now the music is all nice. And she climbs into the car where Jess is waiting.
Are you alright?
I will be.
Now don't you go getting emotional over me. You can't go around crying over every job.
Oh, you're a fine one to talk.
Save one for me.
And see, now that's a typical ending. But if you'd seen my previous one of these, about the one about there before the grace of God go I, the homeless one, it started with that. And see how similar those things really are. She comes out, everybody's happy, she climbs into the car with Tess, and they drive off. They have a little decompression there, and they drive off. So that one really just kind of relates back to the other. That's a typical ending. But there, the homeless one, how different to put that ending in the very, very, very beginning. And then suddenly go somewhere else. So kind of allows me to cover both of these kind of interestingly. And that finishes out the whole first season as broadcast. Now there were 2 more episodes filmed, but they just didn't find enough room to broadcast them in terms of all the other programming material that was available. And I think they just kind of decided, well, that's it for that show. That's over. It's as good as canceled. Well, somehow there was a change of mind, or heart maybe, somewhere, that they decided there will be a second season. So we will go into the second season, and as we get them in the order of their broadcast, when we get that, we will see the see the 2 remaining episodes as part of that season. Well, thanks for watching.